Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle Saga and I am the crafty chick behind Chell's Beads. This tutorial is all about making our photos jazzed up and perfect for just about any application you could want to use a Waterslide decal for. I use mine for custom tumblers, and it is a great way to add that perfect touch to any type of cup that you're creating that uses photos. I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial, and so if you're ready, let's get started. So for those wondering what a clipping mask is, these are clipping masks. These black shapes are going to basically designate what style our photo will end up becoming. These are in the form of digital files that you do need some kind of digital editing software in order to manipulate. In this case, we are going to be using Procreate for the iPad, but any digital imaging software that you're comfortable with could be used. You're going to want to get your files and download them to your source in order to be able to work with them. So to get started with today's project, we are going to be going into our Procreate app on our iPad. And once in our Procreate app, we will be creating our first mask. Go ahead and click on the Procreate app. And once inside, we're going to choose our canvas size. I like to use the square option that already comes pre-designated in our list. And once we have that, we're going to work in our layers tab. So those are those two square boxes, and we are going to hit that plus sign to add a layer. In our number 2 layer, we are going to click that box and a menu is going to pop up, and we are going to hit clipping mask. What that is going to do is that is going to tie layer 2 into layer 1, or make it kind of codependent on what we put into layer 1. Layer 1 is actually going to have our clipping mask, and layer 2 is going to have the photo that we are working with. In order to make sure that we get both things in the right order, once we have our layers designated, we are going to click back on layer 1, and we're going to exit out of layers and go up to our wrench sign, and we're going to insert a photo. Once we have the clipping mask chosen that we want to use, we are going to size it briefly, and then we are going to click back on to layer 2. To do that, just go up to that layers tab and click on it. We're going to go back over to our wrench and find the photo that we would like to use for this project. I've chosen one of my nephew holding his cell phone. And what we're going to do now is just make sure we have it kind of in the center. What I'm showing you guys here is how this photo is now restrained to that shape. However, as you can tell, that shape is a little bit too square for the photo we have. So I'm going to show you how we can manipulate that clipping mask into the shape that we'd like. So click back onto layer 1 and make sure to go to that arrow button. And now you see our selection has been highlighted again. We're going to come over to freeform, and that's going to allow me to skew this to slightly more rectangular dimensions so that I can make my clipping mask fit this photo just a little bit better. It's never going to be perfect because the idea is you want that artistic edge that the clipping mask provides. I'm going to click back on layer 2, back on my selection tool, and I'm sorry guys, somehow this jumped and went backwards, so I had to go back and kind of fiddle around with this again, and I didn't realize it until I blew that photo back up that my layer 1 had reverted back to its original shape. So you just, if that ever happens, just go backwards, go back in, fix it up, it'll be just fine. So I constrain the proportions again to make it a little bit more user-friendly for my photo. And then I want to click back on layer 2. When I am back on layer 2, now we are going to be able to manipulate this image to fill our clipping mask. So I click back on my second photo and I just start to enlarge it until I have filled all of the boundaries of the clipping mask. You may notice here that what it does is give that beautiful stylized edge to this photo. And even though my nephew's face is at the top of the photo, it still created an amazing look. From here, we're going to click back onto layer 1 so we can make sure everything is in the right place. And now we want to save our photo. It is actually ready to work with now. So I'm going to go back up to that wrench, but instead of that first one, I'm going to hit share, and I'm going to save this as a PNG file. That just enables you to use it in a lot more programs. So then I'm going to click save image, and then because I'm working on an iPad, this will save directly to my camera roll. Now, I wanted to get into a little bit more about how you can choose the right clipping mask for your project. So in the next couple of frames, I'm going to show you how we're going to take one that is slightly more grayed out versus black and show you how it can stylize the photo. So to do that, you're going to want to open a new canvas. So I just hit my gallery, hit my plus sign, and we're going to choose a brand new square canvas to use. Now, the steps are the same. We're going to come up to our layers tab. We're going to create that second layer. We're going to add the clipping mask feature to it so it's dependent on layer 1, and click back onto layer 1 and go back into our photos tab. So we're going to insert a photo, and this time you'll notice I'm choosing this clipping mask that has a lot of gray areas around it and just a small black center. So what this is going to give us is a much more kind of grungy pastel look to our photo with just the very center of our photo kind of visible. So I'll show you by using another picture of my nephew and my sister-in-law. And in this, what I'm really trying to do is show you guys how the right gray balance between black and gray can give you different effects for your photos. So again, I am just skewing the portions of this clipping mask slightly so that it constrains to the portions of my actual photo. Now I'm going to come in, and as you see me doing here, I'm enlarging that photo so that I fill all of that clipping mask artistic area. Now, as you can see, because there was a lot of those grayed out areas, my sister-in-law and my nephew, they really are even more artistically stylized than they would be if there had been more of a black background. So I really wanted to show you guys how you can choose different clipping masks for the projects that you're going for. So basically, now that we have these, you're going to save all of the photos that you would like to work with, and then we're going to come into Google Docs. Now it's time to get our photos imported into Google Docs. Open up Google Docs and click Insert and upload all of the images that you have saved. I ended up airdropping all of these to my MacBook so that it was easier to work with them than it would be on an iPad. So once I have all of the images highlighted that I would like, I click open and it inserts all of the images into my document. You will notice that it puts each one on a separate page, and that's because when you click on the image, you see there's this really large box around it because we were working with a square canvas. The first thing you're going to want to do is go ahead into your text wrap and change your margin to 0, like we do with every photo we work with on Google Docs. And then we're going to come up and use the crop tool to crop our images as close to the borders of these clipping mask designs as possible. Number 1, this allows us to get a lot more space on our page. And number 2, it also allows us to not have so much waste when it comes to our paper and for us to be able to make our layout as clean as possible. I always end up forgetting to do this at the start of a project, but you're also going to want to make sure to come in and change your page setup. So for those of you who've watched some of my previous videos, you'll know that the page setup just changes our actual page settings to be A4 and 0 margins so that we can fit all of the photos that we have chosen onto one sheet of Waterslide decal paper. Once we have all of that page set up done, you'll notice that our photos are now on only one piece of paper because of the changing of our borders and our dimensions. So once we have all of our photos kind of in place the way that we would like, you're going to see in the next frame how we were able to complete our layout. Once we have the layout of our photos completed, we are ready to print this page out. So for this project, we are using Waterslide decal paper. So you just want to make sure that your print settings are optimized to be able to print properly on that Waterslide decal. go ahead and go to the print menu, and when it pops up your box, I always like to use the system dialog. This allows me to really tweak my settings, and for my computer and my setup, I go ahead and unclick two-sided printing. I come up to A4 borderless, and then in my media and quality under auto select, I go ahead and click semi-gloss paper. That is the best for the Waterslide paper that I'm using, and it automatically defaults to best quality. You're going to go ahead and hit print, and when these Waterslide decals print out, I will show you what we need to do with them in order to work with them. This is how your images are going to look when they're done printing. I used Hippo Waterslide decal paper, and it is an inkjet clear Waterslide, which means it will have to be sealed before you are able to use it. This is one of my favorite decal papers to use because it has a slightly more matte finish, which to me holds the ink from my printer a little bit better. I'm using an Epson EcoTank 3710 printer, which I will have linked and listed below. To seal this up, you are going to want to use Rustoleum 2x gloss clear, or you could use Krylon triple thick, which I've used in the past. Once that is dry, you are going to cut out your water slides by fussy cutting around your images, just keeping in mind that you don't want to cut off any of those artistic elements, because that was kind of the point behind using this. Once you've done that, your images are ready to use on whatever project you would like to. I used these Waterslide images on a Tumbler, which I will show you in the last frame so you can get an idea of how they look as a finished project. I hope that you guys enjoyed learning a new skill today, and I cannot wait to see the kind of things that you make using these clipping masks. It's just such a fun technique to have in your arsenal and really kind of just jazzes up that regular photo that you might kind of slap on a cup and really take your images to that next level. So guys, that's it for this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please, if you did, give me a huge thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel so you never miss a minute of the fun. And from the bottom of my heart, guys, thank you for all of your support. It really does mean the world to me. I couldn't do this without you guys. If you like this video and would like to watch one of my previous videos, just click here. And guys, don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, stay crafty.